Welcome back to MSU Tonight. I'm here with Stephen Keene and Josh Byrne of A Little Shop of Horrors. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Well, now, A Little Shop of Horrors is a very traditional Halloween type play. Stephen, you're part of the board and the director of the show. How did y'all decide to bring that to Murray?
Our board puts together a committee that decides on the shows for each season, and I actually happen to be on that committee. And I recommended Little Shop because it always draws crowds for Halloween, and it is a popular show. So it hasn't been done at Playhouse in 11 years, so it was a good time to bring it back.
Yeah, very good. And now, did you use a lot of the inspiration from the original 1986 movie in your directing, or did you decide to go a different angle?
I mean, the storyline is pretty much the same, but I kind of tried to make it my own a little bit, I think, too. The characters are a lot of fun, and I told our actors basically to try not to overdo any of the characters because they can come off as really cartoony, but with them just getting out there and doing it and trying to make it like they're real, the characters are real people, I think it adds a lot to the show.
Yeah. And now, Josh, you play Oren, the dentist. How would you describe your character, and how did you get into that role?
Well, like you mentioned the movie earlier, and Steve Martin playing the role initially, and like Steven said, these parts can very easily be played badly. So naturally you have to take a little bit of inspiration from what the professionals have done. For example, what Steve Martin did in the movie and what the original cast and the original Broadway cast did. He's a very sadistic individual. He gets off on causing others pain, which he mentions verbatim in the song Dentist that he sings. I think he has a lot of redeeming qualities, where it's a very comedic role, so that although he does beat Audrey and smack her around and call her names and whatnot, there are those comedic aspects that give back to him, you know, that makes it an enjoyable role to watch and doesn't just scare you to death.
You kind of have to convince yourself that your character's a good, you know, what you're doing is normal. Otherwise,
absolutely, yeah.
It's like how you're in the character.
Which is difficult for a role like that because it's not who I am in life. I like to say I, you know, don't cuss at girls or beat them or anything like that, or I'm not a dentist, so.
Oh yeah. Well, now Stephen, as well as directing, you're actually a part of the cast as well. Why don't you tell us about what you do?
Yes, I am the voice of Audrey 2, the big plant that eats everybody, I guess. And that's a fun role. It's the third time I've done it, so I've enjoyed singing and having that role and being a part of the cast in addition to being the director.
Well, it's like I read that the original Audrey 2 plant in the movie was actually voiced by one of the Spinning Tops. Do you have much singing experience or that kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I have my own. I actually have my own band, the Mervegas All Stars, here in Murray, and we do a lot of R&B, and that's the background I grew up with. So the music for this show fits me perfectly.
Well, now what are? I know it's a smaller playhouse, but still a large playhouse. But with the characters and all that kind of stuff, how do you bring the cast to the full energy, and where do you have them draw their inspiration?
Oh, basically when I talk to the cast, I let them know that, you know, even though we may have smaller audiences, our playhouse seats about 140 people, and sometimes our audiences are smaller, but I try to let them know that even if we're playing for 2 or 3 people or an audience of 10 people, they've paid just as much as a full house. So, and the cast has responded really well to that, and we've gotten great responses from the audiences we've had so far.
No, thank you. We really appreciate y'all coming in. Why don't you tell them when the shows are, and again, appreciate you coming out. So.
Shows are Fridays, Saturdays, 7 o'clock p.m. and Sundays at 2:30, and the show runs this weekend and next weekend.
All right, well, I appreciate you guys coming back. Miss you, we'll be right back.